Welcome to the Manufacturing Shakeup. We're your hosts, Ellen Feldman-Ornato
and Jenny Drescher. We're talking with dynamic women from across the manufacturing scene in Connecticut.
Welcome to the Manufacturing Shakeup. We are so excited to have Cristal Velez from Novo Precision here with us today. Welcome, Cristal.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. We're so happy to be here with you today. I'm Ellen Feldman-Ornato. My co-host is Jenny Drescher. And Cristal, I'm going to start right out with a question that I think our listeners will really enjoy. And that is, you had something happen in your family that brought you to Connecticut. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and what brought you here?
Yes, so it was a really tough journey. I never saw myself here. I live in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico my whole life. And 2017, that big hurricane hit Puerto Rico. I lost my job. I had my house. It got damaged. My sister was really living here in Bristol, Connecticut, and with one of those days that we didn't have no service, she finally got in contact with me. She was like, "Hey, the airports are open. I'm gonna send you tickets for you and the kids. I'm gonna bring you here. I don't know where you're gonna come back, but I just want to make sure that you guys are safe." So I was like, "All right, I got no job. I got nowhere to feed my kids. I have no water, no electricity. It was really hard to get gas. It was a really tough moment for me and the kids. And that moment, I was single." And I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna cross, I cross. I'm not coming back. So I ended up moving here. I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I just crossed with a bag of clothes for me and the kids, one for each. We started from zero. It was really
Wow. How old are your kids?
My kids right now, they're 11 and 13. But back then, my daughter was 4 and my son was 6. And it was scary. I have never felt so much fear in my life. It was not fear for myself, it was fear for my kids. It was a tough moment. It was really tough.
Yeah, that is a gigantic, scary leap. And I'm like, it sounds like you really had to dig deep into your personal well of courage and faith to make that happen. Like faith that, okay, this is going to work out. I can do this. That's pretty amazing.
I thought a lot of times of coming back. Uh but I pushed myself as much as I could because I saw the quality of life my sister was living here, and I wanted that for me and my kids. And it was scary, it was lonely. It was just me starting from zero. I didn't know no one. I had just had my sister, but she had her own family that she had to take care of. So there was like one man show and I was that man. It was tough and scary. Not it was very.
And
Yeah.
now you're at Novo. And so tell us about the position you have now and sort of the career path. Like, what did you do to get engaged in the manufacturing sector and to be in the position that you're in now?
So it was really tough for me to find a job, especially having a schedule that fits my kids' school schedule. My English was a little choppy. I didn't know much. I could read, I could talk a little bit, write it. I was still learning in the process of it. Manufacturing was the first place that they gave me the chance to work on. My brother-in-law was a quality manager at Metal Finishing Technologies, and they were the first one to say, you know what, we'll bring you in. Let's give you a chance and see how it goes. I started as data entry. I was working part-time, and walking into the facility for the first time, it was mind blowing. Seeing all these things that I have never seen in my life. I come from a background of food retail and assistant preschool. So it's completely off from what I'm doing right now. And I just fell in love with it. I moved from data entry to customer service, shipping and receiving, quality inspectors. I ended up being office manager there in MFT. And I was able to learn so many things that I just wanted more. And that's how I ended up at Novo.
I just love everything that just fell out of your face. Just manufacturing gave me a chance. Like, can we just let's put that on a t-shirt, right? Because in Connecticut, we have such a thriving manufacturing space, and it's such a great space for anybody to find something in the way that you just described. Like, it blew me away. I came from a totally different background. Manufacturing gave me a chance, and now your life looks completely different. You're thriving, you're learning, you're growing, you're on a track. So like listeners out there, if you have a person in your world who's maybe going, wow, I just made a big radical leap in my life, or I'm in a job that I'm not sure where I want to go, let's remember that manufacturing can give us a chance. It's a completely different lens, because you are not the first person to be a podcast guest with us who has come out of food or retail or another environment to be blown away by the magic that is manufacturing. So I love the energy that you bring to this conversation today.
Thank you.
Cristal, you all also shared with me that you have gotten yourself through school since you've been here. Can you talk a little bit about like the different moves and shifts that it took to get to, I think you said it took you 10 years.
Yes.
Right?
So I started going to school in 2015 Puerto Rico. I went to university. I just want to highlight that I'm the first generation to graduate from university.
Yeah.
Yes.
Round of applause.
I started doing business management in Puerto Rico. And because I moved here, I left everything behind. So I always had that thing in my head. I was like, I need to finish. I need to prove to my kids that we can do it, that I can do more than what I am right now. And I didn't think about coming to finishing here or what do I wanted to do. Go into manufacturing, work in the manufacturing, doing the quality inspection. I had a really great HR at MFT, which I adore until this day. I still adore. She talked to me about this advanced manufacturing program at Thompson's. And I was like, oh, wait, I kind of like that. Sounds very interesting. So I went to Thompson's. I did my research and I started doing the program at Thompson's. And then I was able to transfer to CCSU. And with my management credits in Thompson's, I was able to graduate in May from CCSU with technology management degree.
Nice. I love that. I'm curious, because one of the things we like to share with our listeners is about our little state and all the resources that we have. What appealed to you about the Tunxus program?
It was the classes were all hands on it. All the classes, most of the classes that I was taking, I was able to go back to work the next day and use them. So I was not just learning, I was not just getting a degree, I was also growing myself professionally and being able to use that at work and being able to understand much better what I was doing. So having those classes, having those programs, especially as an adult, those classes at night, those programs that adjust your schedule, your work schedule, your family schedule, it was the best thing ever. Like being able to go home, do my things, take care of the kids, go to work, and then go back to school. That it was a really heavy schedule, but having that program at night for adults, it was really good. It was what I needed, and it made me go forward for more.
What I love about that is that you recognize that it was for a period of time, right? Like I have to do all these things for a period of time, and then I get to the next level. How has I know when we talked, you mentioned networking and CCAT and WIM and Manufacturer CT, I think was another one that you mentioned. How has building your network through those organizations supported your career growth?
It's been very, very supported. I've been able to meet a lot of people, and not just me, I've been able to make really good friendships with them, and with through their experience and a lot of experience that I heard about, going to the webinars, going to seminars. Every speaker, every person that tells their story, we take a little nip from each of them, and we try to make it our own and see, okay, this person did this and this, then I can probably do that or even better. Or it didn't work. This couldn't work for me, but if I twist it a little, it could work now. So being able to meet those people and share my story, and knowing that, hey, maybe someone out there with my language, with my background, where I come from, they probably need someone to say, hey, if she made it, I can make it too. So being able to share my story and being part of it is the most rewarding thing. And we don't get paid for this. People think we get paid. We don't get paid for it, but the biggest reward is seeing people's faces, or saying, hey, I heard your speech. What do you think if I could do this? Or can you connect me with someone? I want to work in this. I want to learn this. That's the most rewarding thing that I have ever had. And I love it. I really do.
So being a role model for other people and giving people hope sounds like those are two key things for you.
Yes, because I didn't have that. I didn't have that in my life. I didn't have that in my career. And just being that person to someone else is the best feeling ever. Because I wish I could have learned more about manufacturing 10 years ago, maybe more. I probably would be a CEO of a company. And we never know. If we knew a little bit sooner, we never know where we would be.
You've got a long way to go in your career, so I would not eliminate that possibility if I were you, because
I'll take it.
No, for sure. Right?
I'll take it one day.
There you go. What's your next immediate goal in your role at Precision at Novo?
I want to become a production manager. I want to be that person that hops on and help the employees, and not just that, just lead them. Is big difference between managing a business and leading. I want to be that great leader for someone else.
Can you talk for a minute about, I'm super curious about, we have so many Spanish speakers in our little state, which is fantastic because we get to be a multilingual state. I mean, how cool is that, right? And, it's part of the magic of this country. And can you talk about your journey for, pretend for a minute that you're talking to somebody else out there who maybe is an English language learner and they're trying to chart their course. What would be a couple of things that you could offer that person to help them along their journey in terms of trying to navigate a career and school and being a mom and doing all the things while learning another language and trying to adapt to life? Like, what pointers would you have for someone in who might have been you 10 years ago?
I will say ask questions. And one of the things that I still do to this day is describe it. If you come to with a new word for me that I have never heard, I just gonna freeze, and I was like, sorry, can you rephrase that? Can you give me the definition? Or can you just put in the sentence for me? I have never heard this word before. And I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I used to. I used to stay quiet and just like sink it in, and then go and try to find a computer or my phone and try to Google it. I was like, okay, what this word means. But just asking, just, can you rephrase this for me? Because you probably heard that word before and you don't realize, but then when they put in a different wording, you're like stuck with it. It's tough. And not just that, is the way that our brain works is is very tricky, because sometimes you don't realize when you're just speaking Spanish or speaking English, or you don't realize when they are talking to you Spanish or English. My fiance, he's American, he's all English, and sometimes I'm talking to him and then I switch my words to Spanish. He was like, wait, hold, You said, go back to
You
English.
said what was for dinner?
Right? That's how you know you're fully bilingual is when, right? There's no on off switch. Jenny was just in Europe and in Germany specifically, and she speaks a lot of German, and she was texting us in German. We're like, whoop, and she'd go, whoops, wait.
Yeah, we don't realize which language it is anymore. But when
Mhm.
you're starting, it's very, very important to take your time. Nobody's rushing you. It's not a big deal. Nobody's gonna die because of it. Just take your time and just listen. Listen to what they're saying. And if you can't understand, then ask for a definition or ask for a rewording or a
Mhm.
sentence.
Mhm.
There's a solution for everything.
I love that because I feel like there is this, it is a, so the manufacturers that we've worked with, many of them are, they're wising up to the fact that we have so much opportunity to fill our manufacturing jobs with folks like yourselves, folks who, are multilingual, bring a lot to the table, and maybe just need a little bit of patience on the language side, or maybe some extra resources. Like if you were to talk to any given employer in our little state about helping to support folks like yourselves, what do you think they need to keep in mind as employers about continuing to raise up multilingual folks? Because we've worked with clients who have like 10 different languages on their shop floor. So what do you think employers need to keep in mind about continuing to advance this communication question?
I will have someone inside that speak the same language. Someone that they can feel comfortable and using a translator or giving them an option to take classes. A lot of cultures are here and the state. There's a lot of different people, different languages, and probably adding that basic English class, or at least for the terms or the processes or the job that you're working with. Having that little extra class, like, hey, once a day, 2 hours a day, hey, let's just go with this. This is what it means in English. This is what it means in your language, but it's basically the same. It's
Mhm.
really hard to learn a new language as an adult, but if you're doing something on your daily basis, just giving that translation, that little English class, it will help a lot to us. But I'm gonna include myself, but I'm still learning.
Yeah, we're all learning all the time, right? I mean, and then, what I love about your perspective, Crystal, is also that, it's not just that you're learning there. It's not just about the core language. It's also every manufacturer has their own internal language, right?
Right.
Every like, there's there's all this stuff that goes on in any given shop floor or C-suite. That's the language of the business. It's the language of what do we make? Who do we sell it to? Why do we sell it? What's it about? What are our processes? So I love the idea of just really building upon, making the time, having the patience. What do we do together to learn all the languages that we need to learn? The language of the shop floor, the language of the worker, and the advantages are tenfold. Like we can see that. What have been some of the, I know we're winding down on time, but what would be one advantage that you think has been important about being multilingual in your career?
Being able to understand other people. I had at MFT, one of the managers used to come to me and say, "Hey, can you just help me translate with this operator? I need him to work on this job," and he didn't know no English. It's just having the little key, the little power of being able to talk with different people. I think is essential. I love it. I love being able to talk to multiple people. Not just that you know English, you know Spanish, you can understand Italian. So there's a lot of new languages that you can discover just by knowing one or two.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
So the power
Crystal,
to help. Love it.
yeah. I was going to say, you've come You've come a long way, baby. That used to be a slogan, right? But from coming here with a bag full of clothes and now having your degree and working towards becoming a production manager, what are you the most proud of?
My degree. I sacrifice a lot for it. I sacrifice a lot of time with my kids. And my kids used to fight with me. It's like, Mom, I really want to do this program after school. And I was like, hold on, baby, hold on a little bit. We're almost there. We're almost there. And they understood. It got frustrated for them a little bit, but they understood at the end. And walking down to get my diploma and knowing that they were in the background just cheer me up, that's the best feeling ever.
Nice.
I definitely, that's my biggest goal. Don't cry because I'm going to cry.
Well, Cristal Velez, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to round out today's episode with our shake-up factors from today. Friends, we invite you to go try these on in your life and your career. The shake-up factor number 1 is that manufacturing gave Cristal a chance. Who in your life might need to be tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, have you thought about manufacturing? Because manufacturing will give you a chance. Don't be afraid to ask is shake-up factor number 2 that I'm taking from Cristal's story and her bravery. Whether it's about taking a leap or learning a language or whatever it may be, don't be afraid to ask, right? So just be brave and ask, because the worst thing you can hear is no, or maybe at least usually a resource that will help you. And then shake-up factor number 3 is this whole, like, where do you have the power to help? For Cristal, it's in being multilingual, but everybody has the power to help. What's your power to help that you want to go bring out into the world, friends? Try it on, go experiment, bring it back, post it on social media. Tell us where you have the power to help and where you're being brave and asking for what you need. Cristal Velez, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's absolutely inspiring to hear what you've been up to.
A great journey being here with you guys. I really appreciate you having me.
It has been wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Manufacturing Shakeup. You can listen to us each week on your favorite podcast app. You'll find us on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And if you use the hashtag MFG Shakeup, we will see them and really appreciate your spreading the word about what you're hearing and learning each week. Hey, Jenny, did I forget anything?
Yes, you did. Here's the most important bit. You may have learned something from that guest. They may have told a story about, oh, here's what I did and here how it worked. Here at the Manufacturing Shakeup, we are all about action. So take some nugget of what you heard today and put it into practice, even if it's small and experimental. Get busy, get dangerous, go shake stuff up and bring people along with you. Go take an action, post it on social media. Let's have some fun.
The Manufacturing Shakeup is sponsored by the Connecticut Office of Manufacturing, produced by Maselli Productions and Gale Communications, and hosted by the Boulder Company.